Hey everybody, Nick at Bangert Inc. I'm here with Matt from Flight Builders, and we're going to talk about their experience with Sage Intacct Construction. Hey Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
You bring somebody in from a previous industry or construction industry or whatever, and a lot of times the answers are, it's like, we've always done it this way.
Right.
And we're like, why? So we have that ability to kind of think differently, maybe push forward in a different direction, make those mistakes, realize we made those mistakes, and go back. But no, everybody here is just really, really supportive, and like, we all wanted to succeed. And I mean, we're going fast, so way faster than I thought would be possible. I mean, how many homes did we do our first year?
Started like 100. The first year, like 2024.
Our first main year, once we got going, because the first 6 months we didn't do anything. We just were setting foundations and getting ready. Learning how to log into Sage.
We finished. We completed like 99 last year. Probably started off this year.
So first year 130, and now you're moving to 300 this year. 300 houses. Wow.
Yep.
And are those custom homes, or are those?
These are all spec homes, and we're trying to. There's that sweet spot where people want that price that Jacksonville needs. 230 to maybe 450 at the highest, like right there. You get much higher. The demand's falling. The prices are going a lot lower, but they need. Jacksonville and probably a lot of countries need that sweet spot for homes. And there's only so many players in the game that are building apparently not enough homes. So we're trying to make our dent in Jacksonville, and then we are going to try to expand to some other cities and see how far we can go. And I mean, Pat, his leadership has always just been, anything he touches just turns to gold. He trusts so much in the people and the process that it's impossible not to succeed. And he's just shown, within these first 2 years, how quick you can go with just the right mindset.
What would you say that mindset is?
He has a very people mindset, accountability. Nobody's here just to do their job. We hire people that want to improve themselves just as much as improve the product we're working on. We host leadership groups for almost all of Jacksonville for free. We try to improve that. I mean, we're into personal, we do rocks every quarter where we have goals to set for the business and personally. And everybody here is trying to improve personally, whether it's like eating better, working out, social things, relationship things, and just making sure that the people in our company are growing with the company is important. Not everybody's like that, and we find that sometimes they fall off, and that's okay. But for us, it's just making sure that the people and the processes we have here make sense for what we're doing.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great startup culture.
Yeah, you really can't ask for better. I mean, it's very demanding. It's difficult. Obviously, with a startup, you're working a lot, but the results speak for themselves. I don't think we go into any meeting, even if it was amazing, thinking like, oh, we're perfect. We're always nitpicking the smallest things to do better. One, we are very okay with making mistakes, sharing the mistakes. How do we improve upon those mistakes? We're actually reading a book called The Black Box, it talks about certain industries don't really do well with critiques. And those companies don't really grow the way they should. How are you supposed to grow if you don't, improve with what you've done wrong? So that's just the way we are right now.
That's probably part of why we're such a good fit. And I tell my friends when I talk about Bangert that it feels like I'm working at a 40-year-old startup, because in the past 5 years, the changes that the Bangert family has made and the openness to new ideas, the openness to totally changing the way of doing business has been incredible. And so now we're in a spot too where we're focused fully on culture. You get the right people in the right seats, good things are going to happen every single time. If you take care of people, good things are going to happen every single time. We have the advantage of having a long legacy in this industry as well. So it's nice to have that piece, but that startup feel of how can we improve? How can we be entrepreneurial? How can we take criticism? Like that, I feel that in my bones based on my experience with Bangert, and very cool to hear that y'all are doing it here. And it makes sense to me that you're finding so much success.
Yeah, and we're very open as well with almost everything we do. Very transparent company. We have our leadership meetings, finance meetings at this table, and it doesn't matter if you've just started. You can sit in. You can there's nothing here we're trying to hide. You gather the information that you think you need. If you think this is a good thing to sit in, go ahead, sit in on it. We have superintendents that are fresh out of college that are spitting ideas all day long, and we listen to them, and some of them are, but it's still like sometimes something clicks and you're like, you know what, why didn't we think of that? And just giving everybody a voice is also very helpful.
So one of the things I love about my job is I get to talk to a ton of CFOs and controllers in construction companies. You are in a really unique position that I find fascinating because, as you said earlier, you're sort of acting CFO. Mm-hmm. You're also CTO, basically, mm-hmm. in terms of function. Yep. And this is a startup. And so yes. You didn't come from that deep construction history. The typical path for a CFO would be to work at a Big Four accounting firm mm-hmm. or some sort of public firm for 2 to 10 years. And then they get brought on to run the entire financial operations of a company. Tell me a little bit about your experience and how you got to the spot that you're at now.
Yeah, so I do have a background in accounting. I worked at a private accounting firm on the audit side for a short period. Got involved very quickly in the, I guess you would call it the flipping industry. And that goes fast, slow, very straightforward, not really much to it. I always found myself gravitating towards new technology in the accounting field. With some of those earlier companies, the funds weren't really there to explore those. You always see what's available. But just in my spare time, I would always try to learn different, just to see what was possible. So I would try to teach myself the different programming languages. I know some SQL, some PHP, just started dabbling in Python, but no professional training. It's sort of like some people can read Spanish, but they might not be able to speak it or write it. And so I think that's where I am. And when Pat said, hey, I'm going to start this construction company with zero experience, just from his history alone, you know it's going to be a banger. And so I think everybody he talked to was almost 100% of the people were like, yes, I'm on board. Like, let's do this. And he gives everybody in the office the mindset is, if you think this purchase or you think this software or you think this decision is going to help, go for it. And the very first thing on everybody's mind was, we need a construction management software, we needed accounting software, and Sage was one of the first ones we got into.
So with that background, where you do have the accounting background, but also you took it upon yourself to be invested in technology, how would you recommend somebody getting into, maybe they're just starting their careers in accounting, or they're starting their careers in the tech space, but they're interested in finance, they're interested in accounting. What would you suggest based on how you got the success you got?
I would say the number one thing is the extra activities. Don't go to work from 9 to 5 thinking success is going to come to that. If there's leadership groups, if there's book clubs, if there's investor, sessions of any type, there's workout groups that I go to, that figures in the community go to. Go to those as much as possible. Put your face out there. Talk to people saying, this is what I'm interested in. This is what I do. I don't have skills in this, but I'd love to learn. Anybody here has shadowed other people, have offered to shadow other people. Pat specifically has mentored, dozens of people, and he gets mentored by quite a few people as well. You can't expect to grow or go into a role alone. So just have that open mind and be willing to put yourself into some uncomfortable situations to get to where you need to go. A lot of times, things are a little bit of luck, like what is available at that time, but what do you do when that opportunity presents itself? Do you take action or do you just let it pass you by? And I think that's really the most important thing I see is those people that it hits 5:30 and they're gone. Or do you see these faces over and over and over and you say, hey, there's something here, let's explore it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's dive in a little bit more into Sage Intacct. Mm-hmm. You're the primary practitioner here at Flight Builders.
Yes.
With Intacct. You came from QuickBooks.
Came from QuickBooks. QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online.
Okay.
We explored NetSuite a little bit, and then through some recommendations, we heard about Sage Intacct. I had never personally heard of them. I've heard of Timberline in the past. Personally, I love to hear comments from customers directly. So I did a little sleuthing online and found all sorts of industries that were using Sage. I called dental offices from the Carolinas just to talk to their bookkeepers and say, hey, do you like it? What do you not like about it? The goods and bads, because if you call any company, you're going to get the sales team first, usually, and they're going to put it on the platform of wonderfulness. Every platform is going to have its downsides. Every platform is going to have what shines. Going into a purchase, knowing the struggles and what you might need to think about beforehand as things are implemented was kind of one of the keys. And I just wanted to make sure that I don't have buyer's remorse, 2 years from now, because I can't tell you how many softwares we have bought, went into a year, 2, 3 year contract, and within 2 months we're like, why did we do this? Well, here's the donation. Enjoy.
Right. So what do you like about, sorry, that's a great line. Here's the donation. Enjoy. What do you like most about Intacct since you've been on it now for a while?
Personally, I enjoy the open, they have an API. I don't know if it's a closed API, I assume. Whatever the fact is, we have credentials and we can plug in to almost any software that we need. We have used Salesforce quite a bit in the past, and having that knowledge of being able to sync data between the two was extremely helpful. We wouldn't be able to do what we are doing now and going at the speed that we are being solely in Sage. There would be just way too much data entry. Being able to have that data flow in both ways is what really has pushed us that way. I think that there's other aspects that are coming that I'm excited about that I don't think are quite there yet. They've just started talking about AI type things. It's very beginner stages of that. Very excited for when that gets to a good consumer level. And then the other part, which was when I first signed up for Sage Intacct, the WIP reporting was in development without me knowing it. One of the good things is when our deployment was over, I got an email from somewhere, or it might have been on the community forums, and they said, hey, we're looking for some testers for this WIP module. And it was January, and I think we had just got into our books. We were working out of a piece of paper at the time, waiting to get on board. I'm like, hey, we're worried about this WIP thing. We saw YouTube videos on the Bangert YouTube channel about how to do the WIP reports and how to pull it. And even that WIP report video, you could see like, okay, what about this scenario? What about this scenario? There's too many ifs. And then Sage Intacct said, hey, we're shoving this out there. I gave it a shot. It worked way better than I ever thought. It turns some of those month-end closing WIP report entries that you need to do into a 30-minute process across hundreds of projects. Like, that's insane. And it's done at a project-by-project level. You're not putting in one giant journal entry for WIP. Everything is gone at the project level to get that, revenue recognition right.
How much time do you think that would take you if you were doing it in Excel?
I could probably get it quick, but I've never had to do it. I did try it a few times, but then it was always like, what are these? There were specific scenarios that would always get in the way. And there's a lot more user error. Everything has to be uploaded in a certain specific way. Guiding that is always just like, oh, do I want to do this? And then the fact that there was a tool for that specifically that really held your hand in a good way was just, it gave that confidence of what we needed. And so when we're looking at financials every month, like, we have that confidence of like, this is right. Because everything's tracked. We have all the audit trails of the WIP reports, and we can pull project by project, just, what moved the needle.
I think I heard you saying earlier that the group didn't know WIP reporting before you got into Intacct. Is that true? How'd you learn it? How'd you get up to speed?
So I knew WIP reporting just from my past. Not super well in depth. We knew that was what we needed to go, that we knew that was the way to do it. And it was, how do we do it at scale? A lot of the examples you see online are for smaller companies, and they have like, oh, here's 5 or 10 houses. Oh, look how great and easy this is. And it's very A plus B plus C. Well, we have a A plus B plus cow, and we're just like, what do we do here? And just, we needed something, and we're glad that it came out when it did.
It sounds to me, at least, like a lot of your success comes from the integrations that you're able to have with Intacct, and then obviously the modern platform that Intacct is, it allows you to do that. So as a part of your tech stack, how essential is it that you're using Intacct rather than maybe a legacy system that you can't integrate? That's my first question. I have a follow-up.
It just wouldn't be possible at all. From every aspect of our build, data is going to our accounting software. The minute we are thinking about adding a customer and starting a build, we put that in our Salesforce, and that data is all of a sudden in Sage Intacct. We don't have to email anymore saying, hey, this is a new one, add this here. Hey, this is new, add this PO. Like, everything's just flowing. There's hundreds of transactions a day that are just being done right. If you build it the right way, it can be done right. I will say, if you had to put anything manually, it would be probably slower. There's some of the downsides of Sage is QuickBooks is quick. There's a lot of things in QuickBooks that are unfortunately better. There's a permanence to Sage Intacct that if you put something in, you better, that's going to stay there. There's no undo. You're not adding lines to this bill. You're not changing certain things. You need to make sure that's in. And so just building that integration through the API to make sure everything's perfect has been just absolutely essential.
Do you think that you're going to say, as you grow, because obviously your plans are to grow and to probably grow pretty quickly, do you think you're going to save on payroll?
I think so. That's a good question. We are very lean right now, purposely. I would rather burst at the seams a little bit than sit around and be overstaffed. There are a lot of things that we do need, and I try to put at, you should have about 80% of your workday like working, and the 20% of that trying to expand or figuring out, how do we make things more efficient? Like if you were just spending your 9 to 5, just go, putting out fires, this bridge is burning, you're getting things done, but you're not growing. So just making sure that we have that staff with enough time to do their job and have a little wiggle room in there is important. I would say if we didn't have Sage Intacct, we would probably have a lot more data monkeys than we do. There'd just be too much to put in. Absolutely too much. So with our team right now, we have probably 5 people on our accounting side. We would probably have 8, I would think, just from putting in the amount of POs alone and putting in the bills and converting the POs to vendor invoices, as you call it. Definitely on that end, it saves payroll.
We've been seeing that a lot is, when it comes to something like a month-end close, being able to get it done so much more effectively, which not only saves time, or maybe not, I'm looking at your face here, maybe that's not necessarily the case for y'all, but even not having so many people doing data entry, it's coming in automatically. That allows you to get your numbers when you need your numbers. You're up to date rather than waiting for somebody to put it in, waiting for it to update, right? Mm-hmm. Which not just saves man hours, but it also allows you to make decisions when decisions need to be made, is a lot of the feedback that we've been getting. And so, it's cool to hear that that's been happening here with y'all as well. Final question for you, or do you want to say something about that?
No, I mean you're spot on. The month end close, there's a lot of things that Sage does better, and there's a lot of things that Sage is not quite there on. Oddly enough, some of the more basic things is what Sage needs to improve on. But I will say that our month-end close process every month gets quicker and quicker and quicker as we get it down. And we learn some of the caveats that exist, how to avoid them, and how to put in systems to make sure certain things happen. Because the entire software is able to be programmed in a way. Every field you can have checks, you can grab data from third parties. If you have a bill posting a certain way, you can send that data off, check something, bring it back. Just making sure when it is time for that month-end close, it is ready. Because really, that's probably the biggest time suck right there is you're starting to review the previous month and you say, well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And then it's like, how do I undo this? How do you fix this? It's navigating that. It's a lot quicker to do it right the first time than to redo it. You turn a 1-step into a 5-step process when you don't do it right.
If you had to quantify that time savings that you guys have built out here with your whole process, what would you say? What would a month-end close look like in the past? What's it look like today?
It would probably be 3 times as long. Easy. Yeah. I mean, I can do a month-end now in basically 1 business day. And maybe it's starting to get less. I would think just navigating those hoops, and then that's across multiple entities also. So yeah, it flies.
What would you say to someone who's looking at Sage Intacct? I'm going to send this to probably so many prospects in the future. So what's the piece of advice you give to them when I send them this video?
Get your workflow together. And when you first talk to the salesperson, make sure that you have somebody there that also uses the software, and give them your examples and say, here's how we do things. Show me how you would do it in Sage Intacct. And see if they squirm. See if they kick the can down the road. See if they have the answers you need. That's really the biggest thing that we started doing is, all right, find the sale with any software. Find the salesperson, start giving them actual examples, and force them to pull it up on the screen and show you how it's done. Get out of that walled, flowery garden. Find the pain points. Know what you're getting yourself into. And make sure you have time, because any implementation, it's not going to be a back burner process. It's going to be your full-time job. Like, you are going to have to commit months, if not potentially years, getting this going. You have your first implementation, and then you're going to have to critique it month by month until it's the way you need it. Just make sure you don't get into something that you don't want to be in.
Well, let me ask you this question, since you just said that. Had you started with Bangert from the very beginning, do you believe us when we tell you we probably could have gotten you live in 30 days?
Yes, absolutely. I pushed back so hard about that. I said, why? That's just the way it is. It's never a good excuse. We hate hearing that here just because it's the way it is. There's always a better way. That's the way it is. There's always going to be a better way. Nobody's perfect.
That's right.
And it's probably our biggest regret is not finding the right partner from the beginning. I can't tell you how much thousands and thousands of, probably tens of thousands of dollars we wasted not having the right partner.
Well, we're glad that you're with us now. We're glad that we're moving forward. It's fun to work with a company that moves as quickly as y'all. That's as excited to learn this system, to use it in ways that, quite frankly, not everybody probably even has the capacity or the experience, the skills that you have to try and make those integrations, spending 20% of your time every day thinking, how can we make this stuff better? It's really cool, and we're excited to see where Flight Builders can go with Sage Intacct and with Bangert as your team on the other side. So thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you. See ya.